Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Maya with Simply Bloom. So today's video, I want to talk about container gardening and whether you're doing a container garden because you don't have space for an actual garden or you're using containers to add interest into your garden. So I want to look at a few different gardens. The first garden was my patio garden back in the year 2020. I was living in Montana at the time, just renting. And my landlord did not want me gardening in the actual ground, in the landscape. Didn't want any of that, which is understandable at a rental. However, we did have this incredible back deck. And my husband looked at me, he's like, just fill the back deck up with containers and plant whatever you want. So I planted vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, carrots, onions, bush beans. I planted a bunch of flowers and it was absolutely beautiful. So let me show you. These are the carrots that I got. I got a few, like there's a really nice size one here and a couple other nice, fairly nice sized carrots. Right here are my cucumber plants. Now, a few are a little worse for wear. Remember, it's October. So what I did is I just pushed all my cucumber plants up against this railing and used the railing as a trellis, and I trained the cucumber plants to grow up and over. So on the other side at the bottom of the vine. So let's go check. All right, so I loved that garden. It was a little extreme, I have to say. Like, I went gung-ho. The kids loved it. They loved running through the tomatoes that I had, or just all the plants in general. They made it, it was their little playground jungle running through the plants, and they absolutely loved it. I loved it. It was so peaceful. Just going on the back deck. We did live in the city. It was just my quiet, peaceful oasis. I absolutely loved it. Now moving on to the next garden. I am teaming up with Deanna from YouTube channel Gardens Glory. She has, oh, Deanna, you have a beautiful garden. Oh my goodness. Absolutely gorgeous. So Deanna uses containers in her actual landscape also. She uses those to add some height. She uses plant stands and containers to add some height and interest into the garden, and it's absolutely a fabulous idea. Also, if you have a really pretty container you want to show off, it kind of breaks up the sea of plants to add some beautiful hardscape interest. Absolutely beautiful. And then Deanna also plants dahlias and lisianthus, she says, in containers, and then as they start to bloom, she can move them around in different areas to her garden, which is awesome because if you don't know, dahlias and lisianthus, they take a long time to grow and they're green for a long time and they don't start to bloom until a little bit later. So if you don't want just this green plant in your garden, you can move it elsewhere while it's growing, and then when it starts to bloom, she scatters them throughout her gardens to make a beautiful color, which is absolutely brilliant. Like I mentioned earlier, Deanna, your garden is so gorgeous. I hope mine will look as beautiful as that does someday. Now moving on to the last container gardening, which is my current container garden, and it is not impressive at all, but it's okay. It can show you somewhere to begin. So I actually filmed this the other day, so I'm going to transition and show you that footage now. I am wearing something different, that is why. But we're gonna go through and do some maintenance. I have tomato tone that I went and sprinkled on my tomatoes, and then I have whiskey barrels with other veggies, broccoli, cucumbers, carrots, peppers. So we are gonna do that. I'll show you the footage now.
So this is where it begins. We have a gazebo. We have a bunch of 5-gallon buckets of water. We had an insane storm with 120-mile-an-hour winds. It knocked out the power for like the whole town. Some of the town was out power for I think like a week. So whenever I see chances of severe thunderstorms, we've had a few, I run out here, fill up those buckets so we have water for the animals. And then I fill up all my water jugs inside so we have water for like drinking and cooking. Anyways, you kind of learn as you go through some big storms. We have some tomatoes. I need to grab more cages. There's 4 tomatoes that don't have cages. I filled the top a little bit with sheep compost, which explains all the weeds. Because weeds just love sheep compost. So we're going to be fertilizing. I see we have a wilty one, which is quite dry, so we'll work on getting that water. And I do have some tomatoes coming. Look at that. What is this one? I think my kids took out my tags. Well, it looks like all my tags are gone. So I can run through the varieties that I can remember off the top of my head. We had a steakhouse, which gets massive, like up to 3-pound tomatoes. We have a super sauce, which is great for canning. It's like a Roma tomato, massive Roma tomato, but it's advertised that one tomato can fill a pint-sized jar of sauce. We'll see. And then I have Brandywine. I love Brandywine. It's probably one of my favorite, like bigger slicing tomatoes. We have San Lorenzo, which is again very similar to Aroma. Then we have Sun Sugar, which is your little like yellow cherry tomatoes. And then Jelly Bean. Did I plant Jelly Bean? I think I planted some Jelly Bean, which is your classic red grape tomato. And then we had one that was unlabeled. I lost the tag. I started all these by seed, like I said, and then when I was planting the seedlings into the bigger, I used 10-gallon buckets. One was mislabeled or unlabeled, and I can't remember what it was, but that's pretty much the variety of tomatoes. Also on the agenda, we have some things from the landscape creeping in. There's some 9-bark, got some powdery mildew on it. I'm just gonna grab some lops, cut that off. And then we have like a type of sumac, I think, growing up from under the deck. So again, lops, chop that off. I have a green stock container. I had 60 strawberries that I ordered from Gurney's, and I got 5 to survive. So I'm just letting the runners go. And then, for example, like this one, I'll put in this pocket here, and then I'll just kind of put the runners into the pockets. And then I also planted bush beans as well. So beans are coming through on almost everything, which I'm very excited about. I don't know why some look like they're getting burned. I have no idea why. The soil's damp. Anyways, there's that one. I have 4 whiskey containers. I have planted cucumbers in the back, and then we will be staking those up. I have some trellises, so we're going to stake that up. And then I also have jalapenos. There's 5 jalapeno plants, and I planted carrots. You can see carrots are starting to come up. So we're going to be fertilizing, weeding, staking things up. This whiskey barrel, I already have a trellis up there. where I'm tying the cucumbers up. I have bell peppers here. I don't know if I'm gonna get anything. I planted them so late, they are struggling. I also have basil coming and weeds. Here's another green stock container with a few more strawberries in here, and then these are the jade bush beans, which again look like they are burning, and I'm not sure why. The soil's still damp. It's a mystery, complete mystery. And again, more 9 bark coming through the backside of the deck railing, so we're just gonna cut that off. Over here is another whiskey barrel. I have 3 burgundy broccoli. It's my favorite type of broccoli. That's growing. I have some cucumbers growing up the back and some carrots coming up here. I'm growing 4 different varieties. Now I can't remember how many different varieties of cucumbers I planted. I planted Sweet Success. That's my all-time favorite. Long, slender, very sweet, not bitter. And then I planted the Merlin, which is a little bit shorter, a little bit stockier. And then I planted like a pickling cucumber and then just like a bush cucumber as well. I think I planted a bush cucumber. Is that what was over there? Let me show you. So this one that I already showed you with the bell peppers and basil, that is the Sweet Success. I'm pretty sure this one with the jalapenos is the Merlin. The one with the broccoli, I think, is the like pickling cucumbers. And then this one I'm pretty sure is the bush cucumbers, just because of like how compact it is. And then I also had lettuce in here growing as well. But like the very next day I caught my 1-year-old digging in here and throwing soil out all over the deck. And I had 1 lettuce germinate, just 1. And then he got that one later too. So I'm just gonna kind of leave this one open and empty, and he can just play in the soil, dig in the dirt, and just have fun. I have gone back and forth with pruning versus not pruning the tomatoes throughout the year. And when I'm in the ground, when I'm planting in the ground, I just let them go. I think you get way more fruit production if you don't prune off all the different branches. When they were in the containers in my last container garden in Montana, some of the like cherry, the sun sugar, got taller than the house, taller than the roof. They got 9 feet tall. Into our tomatoes, and as you can see, some are taller than me. Now we had a really bad windstorm and they all tipped over, so thus I had them tied to the roof to help support them. And it was just an overgrown, jungled mess. So I found, and you'll see, like I can put up a little clip here, but I pruned off a lot of the bottom stems and branches. It also created more airflow, and I just felt like that was a little bit healthier when they're in containers, kind of close together. So that's what I did, and I'll probably do that here as well once they get a little bit bigger. I notice when growing tomatoes in pots, they seem to be a little bit more susceptible to the blossom end rot. So you can just find like blossom end rot stuff for tomatoes on Amazon. Check your local garden center as well. Just sprinkle it around the roots, and I find that really helps as well. And then typically it's really bad when they first start producing fruit, but then it kind of, for me, my experience, I've noticed it kind of fizzles out near like later in the season. All right, you guys, done for the most part. There's always work to do, always. But I got the containers weeded. I did a lot off camera, actually. I made a rule for myself when I first started my YouTube channel. I filmed 7 days a week, like just film. And I'm like, this is too much. I need to designate a day where I don't film. I can still, do stuff in the garden, but I'm not filming, and that's Sundays. So I came out Sunday, I was watching my kids play. They were jumping on the trampoline, playing on the deck, running up and down the rows of tomatoes. And I just was back here doing stuff, cutting stuff back. I got the tomato cages on all of the tomatoes. But yes, it's looking a little bit more put together now. So again, a little recap. I feel like no matter what, there's always going to be weeds here. This is just something I'm going to have to come do every couple days, because I swear I pulled all these and then more popped up. Oh, that basil smells so good. So my peppers look like they're lacking something. So hopefully that tomato tone that I sprinkle on will help. And then I did fertilize them with the water soluble fertilizer, just like the Miracle Grow. Hopefully they'll start looking a little bit better. And then right here, I have carrots coming. I can't remember. This is like 4 or 5 days after I started the video, so I can't remember what we talked about. But I staked these up here on the trellis. I swear, as soon as you stake them up, they just burst with growth. Oh, it's starting to rain. Anyways, to wrap this up quickly, I chopped back that sumac and the 9 bark, and I pulled this away a little bit. All right, starting to rain, but I don't know if I ever showed you the other half of the deck. We have some kids' shoes, some kids' shorts, some toys. We have a big fountain there, just like some big open space, and I was originally planning on filling everything up with plants to make like this back deck jungle, but that's okay. All right, we're just gonna chill. We're underneath our gazebo here. I really love just sitting under here when it's raining.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I love hearing the rain just kind of pitter patter on the roof. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspires you. If you want to do any sort of container or patio gardening, raised bed gardening, make sure you check out Deanna's channel. She has an amazing garden. I hope mine looks as good as hers does someday. But that is it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.